the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Turn 3 Racing Network. Tuesday night action on tap for you tonight. Superior Class Auto Racing presented by Mug Root Beer hits the tracks up here. Excuse me. Up here up north in New Hampshire for the Lobsta Tail 150. Here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we've got 19 drivers out there on the racetrack shaking their cars down here in happy hour. And man, I tell you what, it's been pretty furious out there on the track. Very busy throughout happy hour here. And top of the speed charts right now, the 40 of Jeff Napier doing a great job up there, about a few tenths in front of his closest competitor. So a very good lap out there by Jeff, and his crew's got the car tuned up, ready to go, ready to hit the track here for qualifying. 6 minutes remaining here in happy hour. And with that being said, gonna head off into a little bit of official business, being brought to you by Little Tate's Cupcakes, Cameron Hagman Photography, and Mug Root Beer. Your point standings, Kasem Plot sitting on top of the leaderboard. David Bradford right there behind him. Bobby Hamilton Jr. so far, great run this season. Jason Spear, John Ballou, Travis Smith, Cole Ansley, Steve Murdoch, Will Jones, and Justin Napier round out your top 10. Very early in the race, about I'd say almost a third maybe through the season here for Superior Class Auto Racing. So a few of these drivers going to have to dig their heels in and get a move on if they're going to want to have a shot to chase down a championship here in season number 2 for Superior Class Auto Racing. Gonna take a look out there on track, see who we see out there running. We just seen Brian Littleton go by. We'll see if we can't get our eye on him once again high above this track from the blimp cam. Let's see if we can't get you a little view from way up above. There you see Brian Littleton, and I believe that am I seeing that correctly? It looks like an 83, but that is Jason Spear. Yes, it is. I wasn't quite sure if the camera was flipped or not. I was wondering, because we don't have a 38 here on Tuesday nights in the Superior Class Auto Racing. These drivers very familiar with their numbers and their cars. Kind of threw me off just a little bit right there. A little bit under 4 minutes remaining here before we get things set to go into qualifying. And Ken Kasem Plot, he is the only driver that has been able to visit victory lane twice so far this season. Bradford and Jones also going to victory lane, but can Plot continue to put wins in the bank, or will we have another first-time winner, or will Will Jones or David Bradford go and snatch a second win to put themselves even with Plot on race wins so far here in season number 2, race number 5 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Lobsta Tail 150, presented by Mug Root Beer. And I tell you what, man, it is going to be an absolute crazy, crazy race. You think this track would run a little bit different than, say, Martinsville. Martinsville just a little bit above the half mile there, but New Hampshire, 1 mile track. It's a pretty big track, and I pretty much liken it to basically just a longer Martinsville. The corners are a little bit more sweeping, a little bit wider, but the concept, the braking, the back to the throttle is very, very similar. These drivers going to get a little bit squirrely, sideways, if you will, on some of their entries if they miss their braking points. And if you gas it up, throttle it up a little bit too soon, you can find yourself fighting it out to the outside wall, and then when it finally grips up, that rear end will meet the nose of the car very, very quickly. And with the grass being right there, if you spin off of turn number 2, there's more than likely not gonna be a caution flag flown. So you're gonna have to be very, very careful of how you exit turn number 2. 3 stages in tonight's race before we will decide who the winner is. Lap number 50, stage 1 will be called to a close. Then on lap 100, stage 2 will be in the books, and then we'll fight it out for those last 50 laps to see who can walk away with the race win. 1 minute remaining before we get ready to go qualifying here, so we're going to start in the broadcast booth, and don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back with all your qualifying action live here on Turn 3 Racing Network.
Hi, I'm Johnny with Little Tate's Cupcakes. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's race on the Turn 3 Network. Little Tate's Cupcakes is a bakery based out of Owensboro, Kentucky. We specialize in cookies, cakesicles, cakes, and cupcakes for every occasion. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram for more of our work and for daily specials. Go number 5.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Lord so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and their rackets regular, their boats bursting in out, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ready to fire things off here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway Field has took to the grid. Your starting lineup looks a little something like this, brought to you by Little Tate's Cupcakes. Pole position inside row number 1, the 56 of Will Jones. Lining up to his outside, the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Row number 2, the 18 of Chris Mathis, and the 46 of David Bradford. Row number 3, the 71 of Alan Dufries, and the 77 of Joshua Baker. Row number 4, the 5 of Mark Truxell, and the 86 of Colt Ansley. Row number 5, the 88 of Channing Ballou, and the 23 of Mickey Spear. Row number 6, the 78 of J.D. Baker, and the 58 of Ryder Struve. Row number 7, the 19 of Kaysen Plott, two-time winner already this season, and the 13 of Roy Hyde. Row number 8, the 80 of Brian Littleton, and the 83 of Jason Spear. Row number 9, the 40 of Jeff Napier, and the 2 of Hayes Booth. Rounding out your field here for today's Lobsta Tail 150, the 32 of Daryl Spear. And ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go. Green flag racing here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Pace car gonna duck off. Jones on the gas, and away he goes. Great start of the race for Jones as he gets away from the field fairly easy, heading off into turn 1. Everything looks clean and clear. Gonna get a little wider shot here on the restart. Everything looks fine, everything okay. Truxell with a little bit of a wiggle off of 2 as your race leader Will Jones continues to try to stretch his gap, already building a 0.3 of a second lead over Bobby Hamilton Jr., who's got Chris Mathis right on his heels. And Truxell digging on that bottom. It looks like that's where he wants to be. Now side by side, making a pass on Mickey Spear. J.D. Baker right there as well. Colt Ansley just in front of him. Field for the most part single file already. Small gaps beginning to develop very early here in the race. Lap number 3 out of 150 scheduled here tonight. 148 laps remaining before we will see who will be your race winner here today for the Lobsta Tail 150. David Bradford running in the 4th position, trying to chase down Chris Mathis, but Mathis, Hamilton Jr., and Jones have kind of checked out, and Bobby Hamilton all over the rear of your first place runner, J.D. Baker. He has had some trouble. It looks like he's gotten into the outside wall. A little bit slow now, falling back to the 13th position. He's got Mickey Spear, Jason Spear, Daryl Spear, all right there, ready to jump all over him. So he's going to get freight trained out there on that outside road. There you see some damage to the right rear of that bumper. So maybe somebody got into him just a little bit, not able to check up as much as they needed to or would have liked to. Back up at the front, nothing really going on as far as Bobby Hamilton Jr. not being able to run down Will Jones right now. 0.4 of a second separate those two drivers. Chris Mathis still on the coattails of Bobby Hamilton Jr. A little bit more of a gap, 1.5 seconds back to David Bradford running in 4th. Alan Dufries in 5th. Joshua Baker 6th. Channing Ballou 7th. 8th goes to Kason Plott. 9th is Colt Ansley. Mark Truxell rounding out your top 10 early here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Three-car battle right here underway. Channing Ballou's got Kason Plott and Colt Ansley right on his trail. Those three drivers trying to track down Alan Dufries to try to break themselves into the top 5, and David Bradford just off in front of them. So far, so good for the drivers at the front of the field. Will Jones, your race leader there. You see it. Gap beginning to develop. A little over a half a second now. Separates himself from Bobby Hamilton Jr. running in 2nd. And Bobby's got a rear view mirror full of Chris Mathis. Chris right there since the drop of the green flag, and he has not looked back or let up as he's continued to try to take away that 2nd position from Bobby Hamilton Jr. lap after lap, crossing the line this time by for lap number 10. Your leaders work their way off of turn number 2. Gap back to Bradford from Mathis still maintains right at about that 1.7 seconds. Not really gaining, not really losing any ground right now is Bradford, but Channing Ballou has slowly lost some pace to Bradford, now dropping 1.5 seconds behind Bradford. So Kason Plott right there, Alan Dufries also right there, Joshua Baker now coming into the mix as well. Colt Ansley falling to the wayside ever so slightly. And Mark Truxell still rounding out that top 10. Brian Littleton and Roy Hyde right there on his heels. That is for 10th, 11th, and 12th. And pretty soon we're going to have to wonder if these drivers going to be in danger of going a lap down. It looks like Jeff Napier running in the 18th position is sitting about a half a lap down already here as we work lap number 12, coming to lap 13. 138 laps remaining here tonight in the Lobster Tail 150. Watching the battle between Mark Truxell, Brian Littleton, and Roy Hyde. Those three drivers have been caught up with each other pretty much all race along. Truxell trying to gain some ground, trying to see if he can't get up there and run down that 86 of Colt Ansley as we continue. Green flag racing here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Track temperature is rising. 73 degrees out here today, and oh, big moment. Looks like the 88 of Channing Ballou. He's going to go for a little bit of a ride. We stay green flag racing. He gets it all collected. But my goodness, let's see what happened here for just a moment. Let's see if we can't check that out. And there you go, off of two, gasses it up and just goes around. Remember, we did say something about that before in our pre-race. So, yeah, tough break there for Channing as he's been able to collect it, get it going back in the right direction, but he has lost a ton of ground now. While we watch that replay of the incident with that 88 of Channing Ballou, Chris Mathis has been able to not only catch Bobby Hamilton, but make the pass and put some distance between him and Hamilton Jr., put that 25 machine back to third, and David Bradford now on the move. That gap is closed to under 1 second, so Bradford making a move now towards the front of the field. Gonna jump back to a side-by-side battle right here. That's for 6th and 7th. Alan Dufries, Joshua Baker, those two going at it. 71 of Dufries right there on the bumper. Looking, not gonna take the spot right yet. Still hounding that 77. Trying to put the pressure on, maybe force a mistake out of that 77, as Dufries is now going to lose that spot. But he's going to try to stay right there, keep the pressure up, and see if he can't force a mistake right in front of these two drivers. Rounding out your top 5, Kasem Plott. Only driver to see victory lane 2 times so far this season. And he's had a pretty calm race here so far. Ooh, a little bit of a moment there. Looked like Kasem may have slid through the entry of turn 1 there a little bit, and a wiggle off of turn number 2. So even when they look under control, they are still out of control. Jeff Napier moving to the side, letting your race leader by. The 56 of Will Jones continues to stretch his race lead over Mathis. Now Chris Mathis 1.6 seconds behind Jones, and Jones looks like he wants to punch his ticket into the multiple race win columns this season. Already going to victory lane once. Can he do it once again? Dominating so far here in stage number 1. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, lap 50, we will have a stage caution, so the field will get bunched back up. A driver or two may get a lucky dog, possibly try to gamble and get a waiver round. We'll just have to wait and see how all that shakes out. Drivers should be good on fuel to each. It's just whether or not they're willing to push the tires as far or as hard as maybe they should. Three-way battle beginning to develop here from 2nd, 3rd, 4th place. Chris Mathis, Bobby Hamilton Jr., David Bradford, all right there within striking distance of each other. And Mathis sideways through 1 and 2. He collects it heading down the backstretch into turn 3. No problem that time on entry for Mathis, but a big moment there coming through the center of 1 and 2. Big wiggle. Looking a little further through the field, looks like Colt Ansley has a little bit of company coming in the form of Brian Littleton and Roy Hyde. Both of those drivers have found a way around the 5 of Mark Truxell, who now has slid back to the 11th position. And after that spin off of turn 2, laps ago, Channing Ballou, he has recovered nicely, I should say, and back up in to the 13th position. And, Trice, I believe that would be correct. Field continues green flag racing halfway through stage number 1. Your running order looking a little something like this. For tonight's Lobsta Tail 150 for Superior Class Auto Racing, presented by Mug Root Beer. Will Jones sitting on top of the charts. Mathis right behind him. Bobby Hamilton Jr. in third. Fourth place goes to David Bradford, rounding out your top 5. Cason Plot just behind him. Oh, big moment there. The 71 of Dufries into the inside wall. No caution as we stay green flag racing. Maybe a little bit of debris back there, but Dufries hard into that inside wall. Heavy damage on that machine, and he is going to find himself needing to hit pit road here. We'll stick with Dufries, see if he comes to pit road this time by, as he's going to lose some ground now to Mark Truxell. Truxell going to make the pass, going to take 11th spot away, and Dufries not able to get it slowed down and onto pit road. He's going to have to go around again. That's going to spell big time trouble for that 71 of Alan Dufries. As we were working our way through the running order here, Cason Plot going to be rounding out that top 5. Joshua Baker in the 77, 6th. 7th is Colt Ansley. 8th, Brian Littleton. 9th, Roy Hyde. And rounding out your top 10 now, Channing Ballou. What a great recovery. He's got a lot of ground to make up. He's about 17 seconds behind your race leader, but he has done an excellent job after that very close call. 17 looks like he's going to continue out on track, so we will jump back to the front of the pack. Here, the 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. has been able to retake that second position away from Chris Mathis, slotting into third. David Bradford still in the mix, right there running in the 4th position. In Cason Plot, about 3 seconds behind these drivers, so your top 4 have a bit of a cushion. Mickey Spear in the 23. There you see him in the Coors Light. A Ford Mustang just behind your top 4. And man, I tell you what, it has been green flag racing since the drop of the green flag here today for the Lobsta Tail 154 Superior Class Auto Racing, presented to you by Mug Root Beer. And I don't think we're going to see that caution fly until the end of the stage. Now, don't hold me to that. I'm not a fortune teller. I anything is bound to happen. Few more drivers in danger of going a lap down, and Will Jones, man, I tell you what, he has absolutely checked out. There you see him. He's been nowhere but first all night here tonight, and he continues to just put down a blistering pace. Still the fastest car on track that last time by the start-finish line, so Jones not giving an ounce of leeway to these drivers. And there you see, just in front of them, 3-4 more cars that may be in danger of going down a lap early here today from New Hampshire Speedway. Man, I tell you what, that is that's a blistering pace being set out there in that Ford Mustang, that 7-Up Ford Mustang of Will Jones. Looking through the timing and scoring, looks like the battle still raging on here between Bobby Hamilton Jr., Chris Mathis, and David Bradford. And it looks like the 40 of Jeff Napier, he's been to pit road and back off. He has lost 3 laps total. Mickey Spear in the 17th position being shown the first car 1 lap down, but Will Jones right there on the gearbox of a few drivers in front of him. J.D. Baker, Ryder Struve, both very, very close to being put down 1 lap early here in today's race. J.D. Baker now falling to your race leader. Alan Dufries, very close to being put down a lap as well, has decided to bring his machine to pit road. As we begin lap 35 out of 150 in tonight's official scheduled race distance. 116 laps still remaining around this long 1 mile paper clip track here in Loudon, New Hampshire. New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I tell you what, track temp now beginning to go the opposite direction. We've dropped 2 degrees in the last 10 laps, so that is a dramatic drop off in 2 degrees in just a handful of laps. I mean, that is a big time swing on the track. Drivers are going to have to keep that in mind as they continue green flag racing here in stage number 1. Getting closer and closer, about 15 laps now until we see the stage ending caution flag come out. The green and white checkered flag will be flown on lap 54, stage number 1. Will Jones making no bones about putting as many cars down a lap as he can here in stage number 1. He's got a 3.7 second race lead over your second place runner Bobby Hamilton Jr. Chris Mathis running in third. David Bradford, man on screen in his Dr. Pepper machine, trying to get back up there and see if he can't take that third spot away from Chris Mathis, but he has dropped a little bit off of the pace, and it seems to be a struggle for him to get back up there and test the waters for the pass right now. Maybe ran a little bit of the goodie off of those tires a little bit too soon. One of your closest battles on the track going on between your second and third place runner. There you see the 25 Whoppers Ford Mustang being piloted by Bobby Hamilton Jr., keeping the 18 of Chris Mathis at bay. These two drivers have swapped that position 2 or 3 times amongst themselves, but neither has had anything for your race leader Will Jones, who has now put another car a lap down early here in stage number 1. 12 laps now, make it 11 laps remaining until we see the stage ending caution flag fly, and a few drivers gonna it couldn't have come at a better time. Mark Truxell about 5 seconds in front of your race leader, in danger of being the next car 1 lap down. Daryl Spear in his 32 machine sitting in the 13th spot. He holds the lucky dog position. And for the most part, looking throughout the field here, it looks like everybody is pretty calm. Doesn't look like a lot of battles being contested right now. Doesn't look like positions are up for grabs at the moment. Looks like everybody's kind of content to bring it home to the end of stage number 1 here without any issues, without any trouble, and continue their race evening here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Do want to say thank you for joining us each and every time here on Turn 3 Racing Network, that superior class auto racing. It's the track surface. All you fans, family, friends, viewers stopping by Man, it's a great sight to see. Appreciate every one of you out there each and every time you do. If you haven't already, throw these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, smash the bell over there on the right-hand side. Get notified anytime we go live here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Many different leagues, series, and platforms of iRacing on display at Turn 3 Racing Network. So once again, want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and turning up with us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Lap 43 coming to take lap 44 here in stage number 1. Gonna come to a close on lap number 50. Just a few more remain before we see that green, white checkered flag fly to signify the end of stage 1. 44 laps out of 150 in the book for tonight's race. 107 remaining before we will crown a race winner. Mark Truxell sitting in the 12th spot. Last car on the lead lap, doing what he's got to do to keep himself in a position to possibly get up through the field here in stage number 2 and have a shot later in the race in our final segment of the Lobsta Tail 150 here from Loudon, New Hampshire. New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's a great track. I actually love this track. A lot of drivers tend to not. Ooh, Chris Mathis gonna pull a fast one here. He's gonna come down pit road a handful of laps before the end of stage number 1. I'm going to keep an eye on your race leader right here. He's got a 4.3 second lead over Bobby Hamilton Jr., but I'm curious to see if he can put Mathis a lap down, and it looks like he's going to be able to. Mathis just now into his pit box, so long trek down pit road, and Mathis now going to be scored the first car 1 lap down, and I'm just not so sure about this strategy. I don't think he's going to be able to get his lap back within the next 4 laps. And then, yeah, he may be the lucky dog, but then he's just going to be right on the same tire and fuel strategy as the rest of the guys. So I'm not really sure what the gain would have been right there coming to pit road. But there again, I'm also not a crew chief, and I've been proved wrong many times. And I'm sure I can be proved wrong again here tonight. Nonetheless, Will Jones continuing to lead the field. 4.5 seconds separates him from Bobby Hamilton Jr., who has a 1 second lead over David Bradford. Closest battle on track, 6th and 7th right here. Colt Ansley, Brian Littleton, Channing Ballou running in the 8th spot. You can see him just off in the distance, but does Brian Littleton have anything left in the car or tires to get up there and get around that 86 of Colt Ansley? Colt, his bumper's a little bit beat up. He's had some contact with somebody somewhere along the line. Looking at the front end of a Brian Littleton's Michelob Ultra machine and not seeing any damage on it, so I'm not quite sure where that would have came from. As your race leader, Will Jones, makes his way back into turn number 1 to begin lap 51. Caution flag gonna fly. That's gonna be the end of stage number 1. Field will all get bunched back up. Drivers will get resituated, refired up, and ready to go once again. Man, I tell you what, it's gonna be a minute before the field catches up to the rear of this 56, and there you see Mark Truxell. That's how close he was to going a lap down. Luckily for Truxell, he's able to maintain his position and on the lead lap, so he's going to be able to come around catch back up with the guys in front of them. Pit have the same amount of tires, have the same amount of fuel, and kind of almost a reset button without the reset button, if that makes any logical sense. It probably doesn't, because it's coming from me, and we all know how I am with metaphors and analogies. It doesn't really work out for me. Will Jones going to bring the parade of lead lap cars down pit road. Your top 11, expect them to hit pit road without any doubt. And it looks like Chris Mathis, he is going to receive that lucky dog. So he's going to go around the pace car and catch back up with the field. So no harm, no foul pitting right there, but still don't quite see what the benefit, no gain out of pitting. So not quite sure, but as I alluded to earlier, I'm no crew chief, so yeah. Will Jones down and away, first driver off of pit road, so he will reassume the race lead when we get set to go back. Green flag racing here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And while we work ourselves back up to the pace car around this track under caution, we're going to step away for just a brief moment. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back here on Turn 3 Racing Network.
We got big time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. You'll need a tow back to pit lane. Press and hold your reset button and we'll come and get you.
Thanks for staying with us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Field has begun to get double file halfway down the backstretch. Ford Mustang pace car lights are off and we'll get set to get this back under green flag racing conditions. Your race leader, Will Jones, has elected to take the outside lane for the restart. So we'll see how that fares for him. Pace car gonna duck off. There it goes, filled in the hands of your race leader. Back on the gas once again goes Will Jones. Great start over Bobby Hamilton Jr. Struggling just a little bit. Brian Littleton, where did he come from? He had one heck of a pit stop. He finds himself inside the top 5, but outside. Not having any room to get back down on the inside lane right now, as he is side by side with David Bradford running for the 3rd and 4th position. Case and Plot right there with him. Channing Ballou just behind that 80 of Brian Littleton, as Littleton gonna now slot into 5th. No harm, no foul, and Ballou down on the inside going into turn number 1. Littleton gonna slide up the track, let Ballou on by. Roy Hyde now gonna slot in just behind Littleton. Oh, little bit of a moment there for Truxell once again. He collects the car. No contact with anything, so everything remaining straight on his number 5 machine. But another very close call, another big time moment there for Truxell early here in stage number 2. And I tell you what, while we have the chance, while we have the opportunity, let's go ahead and throw it to something you all love, something I certainly love. Let's get a little turn it up. Riding on board now with the 00 of Roy Hyde just above from the roof cam as he tries to run down the 86 of Colt Ansley. Will Jones not able to scooch away from the field as easily as he did in stage number 1. Field still has them in sight, still has their sights set on them, and they're going to go up there and see if they can't put a stop to his dominating ways so far. 62 laps in the books here today from Will Jones as the field continues to make their way around the race track. Only caution was the caution to end stage number 1. So these drivers putting on one heck of a show out there tonight. Looking through the field, we do have a few battles still raging on there, and while we were under our Turn It Up segment there, the 71 of Alan Dufries, he had a moment. He went down through the grass and had a little bit of contact with the inside wall. He was able to get it going. No caution flag was flying for that one, so we stayed under green. And Dufries now finds himself being the first car scored in the lucky dog position. 1 lap down, a little bit of house cleaning gonna go on for you here tonight. 19 cars took to the grid, 18 still out there running, and we have still got 12 cars on the lead lap. Alan Dufries in the 71 being scored as the car in the lucky dog position. The first car 1 lap down. Mark Truxell right there in 12th, and he's only about 10 seconds off of the race leader, so looks like that 5 machine and his crew may have tweaked and turned on a few wrenches down there in pit road and got that thing headed in the right direction. As he looks like he's got a little bit more speed so far this run. So we're going to head up through the field just a little bit. Watch this battle unfolding. Channing Ballou and that 88 machine. Remember, he went around early in stage 1. Fell all the way through the field, and now knocking on the door, as a matter of fact, has got his foot in the door of that top 5, running in the 5th spot, and he's trying to get a little bit further. David Bradford in the 46, now on the defensive, down into 1, and Baloo way deep into the corner. Man, he threw that thing down in there, drove it off. Amazing job, not any contact. That was very, very close as Baloo cooked the tires going in to turn 1. Will Jones continuing to lead the field. Bobby Hamilton Jr. still in second, 0.8 of a second behind your race leader. Kason Plott still running in third right there. Just a few tenths off of the rear deck lid of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Tell you what, we'll go up here, show you a little bit of that battle up front as we continue to have small battles all through the field right now as we cross the line that time by. That's going to be lap number 70 out of 150. 81 laps still remaining, not quite to the halfway point, but we are right on the threshold of that. So any weather in the area that may run through could put a possible end to tonight's race. The Lobsta Tail 150 live here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Turn 3 Racing Network. Bobby Hamilton Jr., a little bit of a moment. He's going to let Plott go on by. Not going to fight him right now. Maybe Bobby Hamilton Jr. doing a little bit of tire saving. Maybe not wanting to race too hard too early and burn the rubber off of the right sides, because he let Plott go without a fight. And it looks like David Bradford and his 46 machine, he's begun to drive away from Channing Baloo, who's beginning to drive away from Brian Littleton. Now the gap's beginning to develop as we've got a battle right here. The 86 of Colt Ansley and the 13 of Roy Hyde. Battle is for 7th and 8th position on track. Hyde looking to the inside, nothing there. Now slots back in, heads back down into turn number 3, right on the rear deck lid. And my goodness, Chris Mathis right there, all over the rear of that 13. Got him a little bit loose on entry. He's going to take the spot down the front stretch. Mathis now pressuring that 86 of Colt Ansley. Can he make the move here into turn number 3? Looks like he's looking inside, not going to press the issue too much now, turning down in one lane underneath that 86, not quite to the quarter. He's getting there on exit, very close on late exit. Drag race down into turn 1, but the 18 gonna have that inside lane, the preferred spot. Can he put the power down on exit and take the spot away as they work their way off of 2? Back down the back stretch, side by side. It's a drag race to turn 3. 86 of Ansley's got the position still, but Mathis fighting to take it away. Roy Hyde just kind of lurking in the background, waiting to see what happens here as Mathis powers it off of turn number 4 to gap Ansley. My goodness, that was a great run on the high side, almost into that outside wall. Got to be very careful about overstepping that boundary, but Mathis making example of how to get the power down on that outside lane and get a huge run back down the front stretch. Ooh, Roy Hyde almost into that outside wall that time by. He was very close to that outside wall. Didn't actually make any contact, but was very, very close to doing so. Gaps at the front of the field have stabilized just a little bit. Will Jones now has a 1.1 second race lead over Kason Plott. David Bradford just overtook Bobby Hamilton Jr. for that third position, and Hamilton Jr. has fallen off quite significantly here in the past 8 or so laps. He has dropped from the second spot all the way back to fourth, and Channing Ballou, he is going to be on his heels here very, very soon. There you see him just off in the distance. Starting to see what we seen towards the end of stage number 1, and that's the gaps kind of fall into place. Drivers beginning to even on out as far as lap times are concerned, and now is the time we're going to start seeing which driver heated up the right sides, which driver kept the tires underneath them, because this is when it matters. It's not how fast you are when you got the freshies, it's how fast you are when you're 20, 30 laps into a run, as each run here going to be right at the 50 lap mark. So you got to be good on old tires. Gonna jump back your closest battle on track, 11th and 12th right here. Mark Truxell has the 11th spot. Joshua Baker in that 77 trying to take the spot away. Baker, last car on the lead lap. These drivers 12 and a half seconds behind your race leader. Good battle, good clean battle. Baker not going to be able to make the pass, so he just slots back in behind that 77 machine, and they're going to continue this battle through 1 and 2. Now back to the back stretch. Once again, Truxell still leading Baker. Drag race down the front stretch. Looks like Baker's got the advantage into 1. Yes, he does. Put him into 9th position, as it looks like we've had some drivers with some issues in hitting pit road. Chris Mathis hit pit road. Alan Dufries also onto pit road. We've got 11 cars now make that 10 cars on the lead lap. And once again, the 18 of Mathis going to hit pit road very, very early. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, the man that has dominated all race long, no other race leaders at all, sat on the pole position and has not looked back ever since. Driver of the 7-Up, I about called it a Ford Chevy. Driver of the 7-Up Ford Mustang, Will Jones. He's on a rail tonight. I mean, that's all you can really say about the job that Will is doing out there on track. I mean, it is just, man, a blistering pace. About a whoa, big time moment. Oh my goodness, big time moment for Will Jones. Let's take a look at that one more time. Right there with the 23 machine of Mickey Spear. Contact made. Right there, you seen it. The contact. My goodness, that could have ended very, very badly for Will, but he was able to keep that thing straight. Mickey Spear also able to keep it straight. We stay under green flag conditions, but look at that. That has brought Kason Plott right there to the rear deck lid of Jones. And man, oh man, I'd love to have been able to capture some of the team chatter on the radio there with Will Jones. I am sure he was not a happy driver inside of that 7-Up Ford Mustang. He probably had a little bit of choice words, probably a little bit angry. Nonetheless, able to refocus, get himself heading back into the right direction, and he is beginning to gap the 19 of Kasem Plott once again. So Plott, it was right there at his doorstep, not able to capitalize on it. And my goodness, what has happened to Bobby Hamilton Jr.? Bobby Hamilton Jr. had some issues. He finds himself off of the track and on pit lane for an extended stay here. My goodness, what happened to that 25 machine? We continue to watch your race leader, Will Jones, make his way around this 1-mile circuit, this paperclip of a track here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Lobsta Tail 150 for Superior Class Auto Racing, presented by Mug Root Beer. And we have got 9 laps remaining here before our stage ending caution on lap 100. And man, oh man, how things change in an instant. Chris Mathis in the 18, he is now off of the track and back at the hauler. His night is over, and he is going to fall through the standings here late in stage number 2. We've still got 59 laps remaining before we crown a race winner. And the 2 drivers sitting at the front of the field, I should say, the 3 at the front, all been to victory lane so far this season. Kasem Plott, the driver running in second, only driver to hit victory lane twice so far this season. So can Will Jones join Plott, or could Bradford find some pace and spoil the show and end up in victory lane before the end of this thing? We'll all just have to wait and see, wait to find out, as these drivers have put on a heck of a show so far here tonight and all season long here. Season number 2, race number 5. The Lobsta Tail 150 live from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And we continue under green flag conditions. Only one caution out there tonight so far, and that was the stage-ending caution for stage number 1. So pretty much just green flag racing out here from New Hampshire, and that says enough in itself. 94 laps with only a stage-ending caution. I mean, that's doing something big. That's doing something special in itself. Will Jones continuing to stretch his race lead, now back to almost 1 second over Kasem Plott. Bradford slowly closing the distance on Plott. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time. Only 5 laps to go here before the end of stage number 2. And he finds himself 1.6 seconds off of the back of Kasem Plott. So your top 3, well, pretty much sorted out. Your top 5 looks like this: Will Jones, Kasem Plott, David Bradford running in the 4th position, the 88 of Channing Ballou, and rounding out that top 5, the 80 of Brian Littleton. Do want to give a mention to Colt Ansley running there in the 6th spot, Roy Hyde in 7th, Jason Spear 8th, 9th right now, Joshua Baker in rounding out your top 10. Mark Truxell, that 5 machine, man, he has been just soldiering on all race long, a little bit behind the 8 ball, it looks like, as far as the speed charts are concerned. But Truxell not giving up the fight. Wily veteran move out there. Go get what you can. Get all you can. Because sooner or later the tracks are going to fall to your hand, fall in your court. And his time to shine is coming. I can guarantee you that. Jumping back now to the closest battle on track. That is the 86 of Colt Ansley and the 13 of Roy Hyde. Roy trying to get by the 23 machine of Mickey Spear. He's able to do so now. Not sure he's got enough time, though, as we've only got 2 laps remaining here in stage number 2. Your race leader crossing the start-finish line right about now. And that is what 13 seconds looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Roy Hyde crossing the finish line now. And halfway down the backstretch goes your race leader, Will Jones. He's going to come around for the final time here in stage number 2. Green and white checkered flag in the air. Stage number 2 in the books for that 56 of Will Jones. And there you see it. Race officials putting the caution flag out. Field will back her on down, catch up to the back of the Ford Mustang pace car here in Superior Class Auto Racing, presented by Mug Root Beer. And we will get this thing set, ready to go and fire it off for basically our sprint race to the end of the race. And well, will we stay green flag racing the entire race here today, only having stage ending cautions? We'll have to wait and see, as the stakes are going to get a little bit higher. Nerves are going to be a little bit shorter. Patience is going to be a little thinner as we continue to click off the laps and get ready to fire off our third and final stage. Field now catching up to the pace car. Drivers gonna hit pit road for what could be the final stop here tonight. So the money stop may be at hand for these Superior Class Auto Racing drivers. They're gonna bring their Monster Energy NASCAR Cup cars down the pit lane. Everybody going to take fuel and tires, and we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break to get some fuel in us. Got to go get some water, you know how it is. So, with that being said, we will be right back. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have all your green flag racing action when we return here to New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
The Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Field coming back to the green flag. Will Jones gets another great restart, and he heads off into turn 1. No problems with the spot, as he's going to try to put a little gap, a little bit of distance between himself and the rest of the field. Case on plot right there in tow. And now Channing Ballou back inside the top 5, running in the 3rd position. Do want to apologize having to cut the commercial short here, as the pace laps were a little bit faster than anticipated. So I do apologize about that, but do want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in with us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. From myself, Dave Worrell up here in the booth, and everybody else back behind the scenes here at Turn 3 Racing Network, we appreciate each and every one of you coming out each and every night. Big moment on track. Looks like Colt Ansley was involved in this latest one. We'll back it up, see what we can see with our Turn 3 replay. Gonna have to go a little bit further than that to see what happened. Looks like the 86 may have had a little bit of help going around on the exit of turn 2 here. We'll wait and see. Checking up a little bit, trying not to get into that 13, and then just cook the tires, and around he goes. And back up onto the race surface. Almost into another car. No contact being made, so Ansley just going to have to come down pit road and get some 4 fresh tires as we rejoin the front of the field with your race leader, Will Jones. First, real caution, dare I say, real caution here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Only other cautions coming out were for the stage end. So drivers slowing up for the first time here. That's going to bring this already short sprint to the end of this race to an even shorter one. Looks like most of the field electing to stay out on track, not coming to pit road for tires. Gonna have a little look, run through some of the house cleaning for you here. We had 19 drivers start tonight's race. We have still got 15 drivers here at the track. A few of them have had some tough luck. The dice not falling the way they'd want them to, and their nights have ended a little bit early. The 71 of Alan Dufries, the 18 of Chris Mathis. J.D. Baker also joining those drivers off the track and packing the things back on up in the hauler. Hayes Booth also packing his equipment up, gonna head on home here tonight. And a few other drivers still down there on pit road, beating and banging away on those machines. The 25 of Bobby Hamilton Jr. sitting in the 17th position, being scored 30 laps down, but trying to get out there and see if he can't get any more points out of tonight's race. As the field gets double file, they begin to head back down the back stretch, and we will get this thing set to fire off once again when we take lap 112 out of 150 here tonight. 39 laps will be remaining when we get this thing fired off and ready to go one more time here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Superior Class Auto Racing presented by Mug Root Beer. Lobsta Tail 150. Here we go. Pace car gone. Jones on the gas. Green flag in the air once again here from Loudon. Plot with a good move to kind of block both lanes there. Channing Ballou down through turn 1. That was a good entry, almost taking that second spot away. And now look, when it all matters, when the time has come to flex your muscle, the 5 of Mark Truxell has been running towards the rear of the field all race long, now knocking on the door of your top 5, looking to the inside of Joshua Baker. Not quite there just yet. That 77 of Baker all over Bradford's rear bumper, and they're going to work their way down the backstretch. And I tell you what, let's give it to you one more time. Why not turn it up? Man, oh man, I absolutely love it when we get to bring you those shots here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Looking off the roof cam here with the 88 of Channing Ballou as he tries to track down the drivers in front of him. Will Jones, Case and Plot, they head off into turn number 3. I tell you what, let's give you a little bit of on-board action. We're going to jump back with one of our turn 3 on-board cameras provided by Esteban. You can go down there in the description, check him on out, click the link down there. If there's any cars, tracks that you're needing or wanting cameras for, I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Check Esteban out. He does a great job at all the cameras that you see here at Turn 3 Racing Network. So hats off and shout out to Esteban for all that he does for us here at Turn 3 Racing Network. Now we'll go on board with that 46 of David Bradford as he tries to get up there and make the pass on Channing Ballou. And there you see just how high those RPMs get. getting into the corner, almost on the chip, not quite there, but right at the cusp of being on that rev limiter on the chip. As you see the RPM gauges turning red on the inside of that 46 Dr. Pepper Ford Mustang being piloted by David Bradford, and Bradford trying to make his way up into a podium position, sitting in fourth right now, but still looking for third. This is one of your closest battles on track, so we will stick right here. 3-car battle just behind these drivers. Joshua Baker, Mark Truxell, Brian Littleton. They're entangled in a 3-car battle. Small gaps separate each one of those drivers, but still a very, very close battle for position between all of those drivers as we cross the line. That time by to take lap 123 out of 150 scheduled in tonight's race distance. 28 laps remaining before we can crown a race winner here in the Lobster Tail 150. You've all seen it. You all know what the prize is to win here. About a 975 million pound lobster. No, I'm just kidding, but God, wouldn't that be wonderful? Anyways, daydreaming about lobster tail. Lobster tail and steak. Boy, I tell you what, ain't nothing like it. Throw some good old-fashioned fried potatoes and onions with it. Boy, I tell you what, you don't know nothing about that. Anyways, a little Southern pride down here. Turn 3 Racing Network. You know how we do. Good eating and good racing here. Digging on the bottom. Close off of turn 4. Bradford digging. Trying to take the spot away from that 88. But Channing having none of it as of right now. He's going to keep that third spot and keep Bradford at bay as they work their way back off of 2 and back down the backstretch. Brian Littleton in his 80 machine now looking to make a pass on the 5 of Mark Truxell. That's for the 6th and 7th spot. Just behind them, Jason Spear, Roy Hyde. They're right there should any of these drivers have a mistake to try to capitalize on it. And Mark Truxell, man, what a great recovery from him throughout the race. It seemed a little bit off pace, and there's a little bit of trouble from Truxell. A little bit of in-race stats. Started in 7th. He has fell back further than 7th. Not sure why it's not registering, but currently running now in the 7th position as Brian Littleton takes that 6th spot away. And Truxell now has to be on the defense. He's got Jason Spear right behind him, and then Roy Hyde right behind him. Gonna drop down your running order for you over there on the left-hand side. Keep track of the race timing and intervals just like we do here in the Turn 3 Racing production booth. Will Jones has a 1-second race lead over Kasem Plott, and it looks like Jones not only has some short run speed, but also has what it takes to manage the tires and keep the speed in that 7-Up Ford Mustang for the entire run here. A heck of a job. Battle still raging on in front of these drivers between Channing Ballou and David Bradford. That is for the third and final podium position. Ballou has it, Bradford wants it, and he is letting him know about it. Less than 2 tenths separate third and fourth. So those two drivers yet to settle their differences for that position. Brian Littleton has been able to make the pass on Mark Truxell a handful of laps ago, but Truxell trying to make his way back to the rear bumper of Littleton, and now Spear looking for a pass. Truxell gonna block the bottom. Spear gonna go high. Diamond the corner as Truxell way up through the corner of 1 and 2. That's gonna put Roy Hyde right there on him. Drag race down the back stretch for 9th. Put Roy Hyde with the advantage going into turn number 3. Will he work his way off of 4 and into the 8th position? Looks like he's going to be able to pull a little bit of a slide job there. Give the spot to that 13. Meanwhile, back at the front, nothing changing, nothing going on as far as the gaps, timing, and distance. Case and Plot still 1.1 second behind your race leader. And as I said, I mean, Will Jones, he has got a short run car, he has got a long run car, and he is getting the job done out there tonight. Gonna go back up to this battle for the 3rd and 4th position to see if these drivers can settle this thing on out here in the next 19 laps. They're gonna have no choice but to settle it within the 19 laps unless we see a late race caution in a green-white checkered attempt here in Superior Class Auto Racing presented by Mug Root Beer. We do have I believe it is 3 attempts at a green-white checkered. And it looks like Bobby Hamilton Jr. still smoking down there on pit road. And kids, if you're out there watching, smoking is bad, okay? Just saying. Not a good sight when you see the engine pouring smoke. Not here in iRacing, especially not out there on the real track. So Bobby Hamilton Jr. had a great run going for him, and then some unfortunate mishaps out on the track relegated him down on the pit road trying to fix a heavily damaged machine. Still sitting in the 17th position, now being scored 53 laps down. So Bobby Hamilton Jr. not with the run that he would like to have here today in the Lobsta Tail 150. But still sitting pretty good as far as the points are concerned. So, I mean, this is what you got to do as a driver in a hunt for the championship. You got to take the good with the bad, and you got to soldier on as much as you can every time that you can. And that is exactly the spirit that Bobby Hamilton Jr. and his crew is approaching this race here today. And Will Jones, they're approaching it a little bit differently than most of the other drivers, and that's, well, dominate the thing and you don't have to worry about much. Will Jones, your one and only race leader here today. Absolutely dominating performance up at the front by Will Jones as he continues to lead. Case and Plot, that race lead, fluctuating back and forth between the 1 second to 1.2 second mark, all depending on how Jones actually gets into the corners here. And I'm not quite sure if he's got somewhere to go or something to do, but Will Jones has not let up 1 ounce all race long. He has been picking them up and laying them down that time, more than a tenth faster than his closest competitor, Case and Plot. As we continue to click off the laps now, 13 laps to go. Going to be 12 laps to go when we cross the line this time by to take lap 139 out of lap 150 scheduled here in tonight's Lobsta Tail 150 from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, season number 2, race number 5 for Superior Class Auto Racing, presented by Mug Root Beer, live here on Turn 3 Racing Network, iRacing.com. Cup car action, man, you can't ask for a better time. Field beginning to get stretched out a little bit here as we go to the roof cam of the 56 of Will Jones, your race leader, and that's what he likes to see. Pretty clear track in front of him as we're going to continue to watch these drivers head on around this 1 mile paper clip track. Race lead beginning to stretch out even further now. 1.4 seconds separates Will Jones from Kasem Plott. Channing Ballou, there you see him, driver of the 88, still in front of David Bradford. They find themselves 4 and 5 seconds behind your race leader. So it is a battle for that third and final coveted podium position, and big moment from Ballou. That's going to put Bradford to his outside, running up the track just a little bit through the center as Ballou. Ooh, man, that is going to be a battle now. Bradford right on the heels of Channing Ballou. Can that 88 machine continue to keep the power underneath them and pointed in the right direction? We've seen him have a little bit of struggle every now and again off of turn number 2. Will that seal the fate? Will that seal the fate for that driver and that crew? Or will the big talk be how he overcame adversity here today and drove his way back up through the field and into a third place finishing spot? And man, I tell you, that is one heck of a recovery. Speaking of one heck of a recovery, our, well, move of the race. Channing Ballou going to receive the move of the race here tonight from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, saving the car off of turn number 2, going down the backstretch, not making any contact with anything, through the grass a little bit, pointed it back in the right direction, caught the gear and took back off, maintained the pace to stay on the lead lap, and he has found a way back up through the field and now running in the third spot, crossing the line that time by 6 laps remaining here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 145 laps in the books. And ladies and gentlemen, it is down to that witching hour. Normally here, race trends show that the last caution usually flies around the 25 to 30 lap mark. So I believe we will be free and clear of seeing that pesky yellow flag fly, and we're going to keep this thing green flag racing with only one real caution out here on track today. The other 2 cautions were from a stage-ending caution, so heck of a job, heck of a drive out there by each and every one of these drivers here in Superior Class Auto Racing, and want to salute each and every one of them, and more importantly, want to salute each and every one of you that tune in each and every night here on Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it's for myself or any of the other guys behind the scenes, Youth in the Booth, Danny Valenzuela, the Outlaw, KR Stolfus, Chris Legute, Rick Hammond, Big Al, any of the guys over there at Turn 3 Racing Network, man. Appreciate everything you guys do, and without y'all, there would be no me, and without you viewers, there would be no us. So I do want to thank and appreciate each and every one of you. Now that battle has come to a boiling point right around a lap car. David Bradford able to time the pass correctly, and he has found a way by the 88 of Ballou, digging on the bottom. Contact with Bradford. He's going to send him around. Caution is going to fly Ballou back down through the grass. Oh my goodness. Let's take a look back with our Turn 3 replay and see what happened here. Oh, and there you see the contact. We'll look at it one more time. High above from the blimp cam. Here you see Bradford making the pass, going back down the front stretch, looking to head into turn number 1. Looks like Channing Ballou had the line. No harm, no foul yet. Everything looks okay, and then just on the gas, washing up a little bit into that left rear quarter, and around goes Bradford. Not making any contact with any other cars, but that is going to put us in to overtime here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So my goodness, what a twist here to end tonight's race. My goodness. There you see most of the drivers coming down pit road. We will catch up with your race leader, Will Jones. Looks like he's got the right sides on. Left side's going up in the air. All the drivers taking 4 tires, it looks like. Whew, man. What's gonna happen now? Three laps remaining here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, and we're going to find ourselves working into overtime. Race being extended to 152 laps now as your car's running 1 lap down. Going to hit pit road this time by. Man, oh man, I tell you what, I sure hope Will Jones has what it takes to get another good restart. I mean, he's had 3, 4, I think 5 now restarts. We'll take a real quick look there. 4 cautions so far, 2 for stage end. But nonetheless, each and every time Will Jones has been able to get a good restart. Can he make it a good restart for this 5th and final time here tonight from New Hampshire Motor Speedway? Every single lap in the book tonight for Will Jones. So no question about who's going to get the most laps led award. That is, without a shadow of a doubt, going to be this fast 7-Up Ford Mustang of Will Jones. Ooh, little bit of a glitch right there. Everything worked itself out, everything fine underway, and we will get this thing set to go. Back green flag racing for our first green-white checkered attempt here in the Lobsta Tail 150, live from New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Turn 3 Racing Network. Superior Class Auto Racing presented by Mug Root Beer. Fans, friends, family, viewers, stand up. We're about to fire it off to see who's going to walk away with the race win. Will Jones, your leader, hits the gas, and away we go. Overtime underway. Will Jones with a great restart gets a good jump over the field. Battle now for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. All those drivers all over each other. Channing Ballou digging on the inside. He's going to make the pass over Joshua Baker. Put Ballou into that 3rd spot. He's got his sights set now on Kasem Plot. Gonna cross the line. 1 to go. Presented by Mug Root Beer here in the Lobsta Tail 150. And around goes Ballou. Contact. And he's gonna lose a ton of spots. Will Jones, your race leader, gonna come off of turn number 4 for the final time here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Your race winner. And around goes it. Oh my goodness, who was that? Late race. I believe that was Baker. Channing Ballou. Extracurricular activity. My goodness, what happened? Looks like Bradford a little squirrely. The 77 catches it. Back on track, spinning. Ooh, tough break there for that 77 after the fact. He's going to still slide home in the third position, I should say. Sorry about that. My goodness, what a great race here. What a great win from this man right here. Coming up next, your post-race interview presented to you by First Horizon and Turn 3 Racing Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We will be right back here on Turn 3 Racing Network.
We got big-time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. Your car is toast. You'll need a tow back to pit lane. Press and hold your reset button and we'll come and get you.
Man, oh man, what a way to end the night. Green, white, checkered, to determine who walks away with the race win. And we're going to see if we can't get a brief moment in with your race winner, the driver of the 56, Will Jones, walking away with the money in the bank. All the laps in the bag. Will, you got a copy? It's Dave in the booth.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, my man, I don't know what to say. I mean, every single lap, outstanding.
Yeah, I'd say I had a pretty good race, man. It was got in that clean air, and the car it was good, and it was driving good. The car was loose, which is what I like. So I mean, I had a blast.
Well, man, after taking the pole position here today for the Lobsta Tail 150. Did you think you had that good of a car that you were going to go out there and just walk away with the race the way that you did? I mean, we did have that green, white, checkered, but you fired off on that and never looked back. Did you know the car was that good?
No, I mean, there's a lot of talented guys in here. This is a comeback to the front. I mean, it's just it's a tough track to pass out. You know, clean air is king here.
Well, man, you did a great job at keeping the car right where you needed to be, and that was at the front of the field. Now you're going to join the ranks of Case and Plot with your second race win of the season. I know we still got a long season to go, but how are you liking your chances at getting back into the championship contention?
Well, I had to miss a race, so that's kind of got me, kind of behind the eight ball a little bit, but I'm gonna do my best to make it back up there, but it's hard to make it back up if you miss a race. And I just had something come up, and I couldn't make one. My grandfather passed away, and it caused me to miss a race. But anyway, he was riding with me tonight.
Well, man, hats off! Heck of a job once again, walking away with a dominant race win here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Before we will let you go, though, Will, would you like to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous?
Yeah, thank y'all for broadcasting. I'd like to thank all the fans that tune in each week and watch. Thank Bobby and David for running the league, which us three, kind of, which they do all the leg work. But thank all the guys that show up every week and race and had a really clean race tonight. And that was really, really, really surprising to me with how loose these cars were. But anyway, yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in and look forward to next race.
All right, well, there you have it. Some words from your race winner, sponsored by Little Tate's Cupcakes here tonight in the Lobsta Tail 150. Will Jones, driver of the 56, getting the job done. Now we'll see if we can't catch a quick word or two with the driver walking away in the second position here today, and that is the 19 of Case and Plot. It's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Doing good, my man. Doing good. Not as good as you. Finishing second out there in the race. I know you always want to win, but second is nothing to hang your hat about.
Well, hats off to Will. That was definitely a ass whooping, as I would call it. So I haven't figured this place out. So it's definitely tricky for me. Worst, or probably one of the worst tracks that I can go to and not be good. But sacrificing a second definitely is great. So I'll take it and move on.
Well, man, a dominating performance that Jones had before that green-white checker. Did you think you had anything for him with that last restart?
The only way I would have had a chance is if I would have stayed with him on the restart and roughed him up. But me and him are good buddies, and there's definitely ways to do it and make it interesting. But I ain't gonna risk taking a chance of wrecking him for the win. He's definitely been fighting hard to get a win. He finally got him one, so hopefully he'll get in a rhythm now and be a bunch of 1, 2, 3 racing.
All right, my man, Kason. Well, great job so far this season. Great job out there tonight, walking away with a second place. Before we let you go, would you like to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous, anything like that?
I just thank y'all for broadcasting and thank them for putting on the league. Luckily, it was a great night of racing. Didn't have much cautions, and just dominating performance by Will. So great job to him.
All right, that was your second place finisher, sponsored by Mug Root Beer tonight in the Lobster Tail 150, the 19 of Case and Plot getting the job done. Now we're going to see if we can't catch up for the first time with the driver finishing in third place here tonight, and that's the 77 of Joshua Baker. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I got a copy.
Well, buddy, man, a heck of a job out there. Pretty exciting finish. Walk us through that.
Yeah, getting down there to one behind Tanning. I don't know if I just overdrove it or he got a little loose. I got into him and sent him up the track, and he still won't apologize to him on that. And yeah, man, hell of a race. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, man, I mean, you stayed up there towards the front of the field for the majority of the race. I believe this is the first time I've had a chance to talk to you post-race, so do you think this gives you any momentum between now and when we get back to the track in 2 weeks?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it kind of gives you a little bit of confidence just riding around with these guys. It's only my second race. I ran last week, or 2 weeks ago, but got a top 10 in that one as well. But I mean, we're on a roll here. I want to keep this momentum going and see where we end up at the end of the year.
All right, Joshua. Well, hats off with a great finish, my man. Congratulations on your third place out there tonight. Before we let you go, would you like to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous, anything like that?
Just friends, family, anybody out there watching the stream. Howdy from Western Ohio. Talk to you later. Thank you.
There you have it. Some final few parting words from the driver finishing in third, sponsored by Cameron Hagman Photo Photography here tonight in the Lobster Tail 150 from New Hampshire Speedway. And well, with all that being said, there's not a whole lot left for us to do up here in the booth except wrap things up. I mean, what a race so far out there tonight. I mean, all the drivers, and that was not supposed to be that loud, all the drivers doing a great job keeping a green flag racing. Only 2 cautions out there besides your stage ending cautions, and well, that gives us nothing left to do except for run down your finishing order here tonight. First place, the 56 of Will Jones. Walking away in second, the 19 of Kason Plott. Third place, the 77 of Joshua Baker. Coming home in fourth, the 46 of David Bradford. Finishing fifth, the 80 of Brian Littleton. Sixth, 83 of Jason Spears. Seventh, the 13 of Roy Hyde. Eighth place goes to the 5 of Mark Truxell. Ninth position, the 86 of Colt Ansley. And Channing Ballou in his 88 machine finishing in 10th. 11th spot goes to the 58 of Ryder Struve, the first car being scored 1 lap down. 12th position, the 23 of Mickey Spear. 13th, the 40 of Jeff Napier, being followed by the 32 of Daryl Spear. Rounding out your top 15, the 71 of Alan Dufries, coming home in 16th. The 18 of Chris Mathis. 17th will be Bobby Hamilton Jr. JD Baker in the 78 gonna come home in 18th. 19th, gonna go to Hayes Booth, and that's gonna finish your finishing order here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Lobsta Tail 150 for Superior Class Auto Racing, presented by Mug Root Beer. So from myself, David Worrell, and everybody else here at Turn 3 Racing Network, once again, thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it's myself or anybody else, we appreciate each and every time you join us here on Turn 3 Racing Network. And until we see you again, well, stay smart, stay safe, and yeah, we get to go racing soon. So here we go. Yeah, gotta love it. We'll catch up with you later.
We got big time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. Looks like your car is toast. You'll need a tow back to pit lane. Press and hold your reset button and we'll come and get you.